Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Emperor Explains Why He Needs Guilliman and the Lion. Angron versus the Lion, Warhammer 40K lore by the channel Sandman of Terror. First I'm reacting to this channel. Somebody comment down I should do this because I've said I want to know more about the latest lore. And there are books out there apparently, so this is going to be interesting. So Emperor has talked about this apparently, why he needs Guilliman and the Lion. Okay. Alright, let's go this one. I love Warhammer 40K if it's already not apparent. I did quite a few Warhammer 40K video already. If you haven't seen them, check out the link in the description. But yeah, I like the lore and how it's evolving. Like, how many times do you have any lore that evolves and constantly grows, right? I mean, Lord of the Rings, it is what it is. It's not going to increase, right? Let's be honest. I guess any other, I can't really name, like Witcher is also like, it is what it is. I think the Warhammer 40K only is the big one that is constantly evolving. That makes it more fun. Like, ooh, like it has the appeal of all the lore that is, and still like this daily soap type of mentality. Like, oh, what's gonna happen next? So that's why I love this. So let's go this one. Remember, people, if you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe. So I know which type of videos to react to more. I love Warhammer 40K, like I've said many times, and I like to do more. So definitely like and subscribe. That way I'll know if I should do more of this or not. So let's watch it.
Finally, vengeance was Angron's, the demon Primarch of the World Eaters. 10,000 years ago, at the Battle of the Eternity Gate, Sanguinius had ripped the butcher's nails out of his brother's head and sent the demon Primarch of Khorne screaming back to the war. But now Sanguinius the Great Angel was long gone, and Angron the Red Angel stood atop the tower of the Warpforge Palace and over his brother's mightiest son. Commander Dante, the chapter master of the Blood Angels, lay defenseless. The Blood Angels had come to the aid of the Dark Angels as they stood battered against the Chaos forces on the corrupted ruins of Caliban. Yet, the sons of Sanguinius had done little to actually slow down Angron. The corporeal form of the Lord of the Red Sands healed the minor damage that they had done to him. Azrael, Supreme Grand Master of the Dark Angels, could see Angron and Dante from afar, and he grieved that this mighty champion of the Imperium would perish to save his chapter. The normally deadly and accurate shots of the Dark Angels had in truth done little but temporarily distract the demon Primarch of Khorne. Corvus Corax of the Raven Guard had once thought that only Sanguinius and Horus would have been able to best Angron in combat, but they were both long dead, the Emperor's brightest and darkest sons. All hope.
Isn't the lion supposed to be like a warrior element of it? Like, Horus is a great strategist, makes sense. Sanguinius is like the golden child or whatever, also makes sense. But the lion's supposed to be like this nitty gritty badass, isn't he? Like, okay, there are like 18 Primarchs. I don't know who's supposed to be the best, I guess. I still haven't done detailed Primarch lore yet. I should definitely do that. But I'm learning slowly. And the lion's supposed to be this badass guy, isn't it? I don't know.
Seemed lost. Out of nowhere, a shadowy mist rose and coiled around Dante and the Blood God's Red Angel. For the Emperor still has an angel of his own, and this one is a Dark Angel. Angron, Sanguinius, Horus, Corvus, Guilliman, all sons of the Emperor, all Primarchs, all blessed with his gifts. But one Primarch was created first, and he is said to be the template from which all of his brothers were made. And only he was regarded by the Emperor of Mankind as his firstborn son. Lion L. Johnson stepped from the mist, a demigod knight with a glowing blade and glinting shield, as in the tales of old Earth. He had returned to the remains of his homeworld in his son's darkest hour. He had fought with the Blood Angels many times and served with their father during the heresy. Dante would not die today. The monster slayer of Caliban was here, before a beast that needed slaying. Azrael had never seen his gene father in the flesh, But when he saw the lion, he fell to one knee. Deep within his blood, he knew this man. So too it seemed did the Deathwing, for upon seeing him, they bellowed new oaths. Some of these words came from a
Seriously, I need that like text-to-speech device type of parody style of this. Like the lion's return, how people's reaction are. People like, holy shit, and all that. Seriously, somebody needs to make parody out of this.
deep place they knew where not, but in an instant, they were certain that they would fight and die for this man. The bone-coloured Terminator armour was covered in blood and demonic ichor from the battle, but now it shone true, bright and terrifying as the death. Lion L. Johnson stood, and he was not alone. He stood with the black-armoured Risen, warriors out of time, forgiven and with new oaths to fight for the Lion and the Emperor. Angron beheld his brother, but in his broken mind, he saw just another skull for the throne.
One of us, the Angron is like, holy shit, look at that. It's like, think of a nightmare in armor, and there you go. Look at the face and everything. This is ridiculous shit.
He howled and struck at the lion. Despite his age, the supernatural instincts of the Lord of the First were keen, for the Emperor made his sons functionally immortal. He deflected and parried the blows. L. Johnson was the master of mankind's double-edged sword. Seizing the opportunity, the Risen struck, but Angron swept them aside with Samniarius and Spinegrinder. The lion bid his sons retreat, for this fight was his. He then feigned retreat also, to allow Commander Dante to be extracted. Azrael watched in awe, desperate to aid his lord. But for a second, the lion's eyes locked with his sons. This hit Azrael like a physical blow. There were
By the way, name like Azrael and everything, that's biblical names, right? Is there a lore that Emperor respected Bible or the religion of Christianity or something? Is there any detail about that, or is just like the name? Yeah, sure, it is like angelic name or something. Because knowing Warhammer, there should be a lore around this, like what Emperor thought of this religion or any religion for that matter. I mean, obviously he like religion is the mistake. He thought he abolished everything, but still some element of it maybe he respected. That's why he's naming his children after biblical names. I don't know.
no words that needed to be uttered. Azrael knew his orders. The Supreme Grand Master turned back to the World Eaters. The arrival of the Firstborn incensed the Chaos Forces, somewhere in the outer darkness, for being spied on a new threat to their power. The Lion's ploy to draw Angron away succeeded. He vanished from the tower, and Angron roared in pursuit. But Dante and his remaining guards still lay prone, angels spent trying to save their darker cousins. Azrael could not let this stand, and a blood debt was owed, and bellowed the words that so many had come to fear across the galaxy. But now they carried new meaning. For the Lion! The Terminators of the Deathwing joined him, and soon the Warpforge Palace echoed with the sounds of their cry, for the Lion and the Emperor. With Commander Dante secure and the remaining Blood Angels and Dark Angels heading towards extraction points, the Lion was free to focus on his fallen brother. On New Seria, under the torture of the Butcher's nails, Angron gained the savagery that had developed through the ages. But the Lion's homeworld had developed him too, for he grew up combating wild and warp-tainted beasts. His brother was just one in a long line of monsters. Angron may have disgusted the Lord of Caliban, but that did not mean L. Johnson would underestimate this threat. After his dark
That's the thing, right? L. Johnson, basically, his backstory just says like he's as veteran can be. Even before he was found by the Emperor, he was just doing all type of shit, kicking Chaos's ass all around. Like for him, it's like, I got this. And that's why his experience and his all-out temperament is what makes him really awesome.
apotheosis, Angron's blows were enough to crumble Imperial knights, but the Lion wielded the Emperor's shield, and it took the blows, the shockwaves driving Angron back. Grateful for the shield and the blessings of his father, for an instant the Lion's mind.
Can there be any other sign that Emperor is alive and knows everything, control everything, then giving Lion his shield. Like imagine like Guilliman came back. Is it Emperor? Is it what? It's questionable. Sure, Lion comebacks with the Emperor shield and everything. Like that shit cannot be a coincidence. Like the level of morale boost of Imperium would get after that.
Lion drifted back to a conversation he'd had with the Emperor. Rabute raises an Imperium in miniature that celebrates his name and yours. I have left as many worlds behind me as any two of my brothers, but I fear that darkness and ash will be the legacy I leave to your Imperium. The Emperor considered long, as he often did, before giving an answer. In the line of Aegypta, there was an empress named Hatshepsut. By all accounts of her that survive, she was an equitable and proficient ruler by the standards of her time. She rebuilt her land in the wake of war and occupation, erecting great monuments and bringing prosperity to her people. She reassembled the Aegypta's navy, using it to re-establish their old empire, and launched military campaigns against the nations who had once been their oppressors. A legacy whose parallels are not hard to see. And yet, those who came after her did all within their power to ensure that she would have no legacy. Her name was chiseled from every monument, her every deed and triumph stricken from public record.
See, in real world that happens a lot. God knows how many history has been erased by petty successors. Like all the history and all the things we know of right now, we don't think about this, but maybe this is a fraction of reality. Like who knows what great names and great warriors. Like there could have been another name like Alexander the Great, but somehow some petty guy just removed all traces of it, right? I watched that TV show, The Last Kingdom, and I like how the King of England just says like, I wrote this, my name is everywhere here, but yours is nowhere, right? The main, what was his name? I forgot his name, but the main protagonist is his name, I don't know. That made me think like God knows how many great names, great warriors, great kings were erased completely.
Even her body was removed from its royal tomb. Why, if her reign was so equitable? Because those who succeeded her desired it. Because sometimes what comes before is too troublesome to be paved over in rockcrete, to amend with a monument to compliance or a golden aquila on an imperial flag.
Basically, nobody would respect the new one or new one's children if they succeed, if the sum of the predecessor is that big. I'm surprised Alexander the Great's history survived, because everybody came after that was constantly compared to. Even Julius Caesar once went there and tried to compare himself with him humbly, that I can never be at your level or something like that. But still, I'm surprised that people came after that didn't just raise that memory.
Sometimes it is enough only that it be destroyed, that no trace of it but darkness and ash be left to endure. And yet, history still remembers this empress.
I mean,
the
people
Emperor
like internet, right?
Thutmose
It doesn't go away. People remember.
did not have his Dark Angels. And here he was, 10 millennia later, Lion L. Johnson, the Emperor's exterminator. But he was so much more now. He was the protector of Imperium Nihilus. The Emperor never gave the Lion the pomp and laurels demanded by his brothers, because he knew, as did the Lion, that loyalty is its own reward. The two demigods fought their way across the mechanical plateau, where unholy machineries pounded and jets of white-hot flame erupted from hidden apertures. Angron's blows had felled many of the Lion's Genesons, but now L. Johnson's new blade fealty parried them, or they hammered into the Emperor's shield, and the Red Angel would be forced back again. The Lion sought to put space between them to give him time to enact his plan. He utilized the terrain, but Angron would just barrel through it, brimming with rage. L. Johnson headed down a brass staircase, and he saw Angron had taken to the skies, utilizing the hellish gifts from his patron god. Angron grasped the stairway superstructure and then wrenched the entire edifice away from the side of the mechanical plateau. The lion leapt clear as the structure collapsed under its own weight. When he landed, there was an eerie sense of familiarity. He recognized the architectural style of his homeworld. Angron swooped down and engaged his brother again. The lion could not break concentration now, even for a second, as the demonic strikes could easily split him into two, or just leave him as a bloody paste on the ground. Somewhere in his addled mind, the gladiator...
So Angron can easily cross the line if he's not careful, but that's not the other way around. So I'm guessing Angron is one of the most, I don't know, more stronger overall. Stronger in that way, like literally can kill you with just one strike type of Primarch. Like how many others are that level? Because he's like literally rage incarnate or something. Look at that face, look at that body, right? Khan basically put everything in him or something. Look at that. So I'm guessing no other Primarch can come at this level who can just one strike kill anything type of level. So Angron is just that, right?
Gladiator Primarch of Khorne still had his martial competency. He was enhanced by dark powers and was eternally driven by the butcher's nails, which dealt white-hot agony to spur him on. Eventually, the 12th found his opening, and with one kick, he cracked the first's armor and sent El Johnson through a statue and onto a rooftop behind. The lion then had to roll away to avoid the chain axe spine grinder, and it took him off the roof, down onto a metal platform 30 feet below. The lion took in these new surroundings almost instantly, which was fortunate as Angron descended. The lion was prepared, and Angron crashed upon the Emperor's shield and was held back by an explosion of golden energy. Quickly on his feet again, Angron grabbed a nearby World Eater's Predator tank and launched it at the Primarch of the Dark Angels. The lion dodged it easily enough. However, the second tank Angron threw was a gorgeous Dark Angel's green impulsor, which the lion was not quick enough to avoid. It smashed into the Lord of Caliban and took him through the stonework behind. The lion righted himself and climbed atop the impromptu missile. As Angron dove at his brother again, the lion dove aside and managed to hammer his father's shield into the back of the Red Angel's head for good measure. Angron was sent into a ruin and was buried beneath its collapse. The lion knew his brother was down but not out. Sure enough, the demon Primarch burst forth from the rubble heap. The hate in his eyes was unmatched by anything that El Johnson had seen, and he attacked in a blur. The lion barely got the shield up to save himself. This time the energy sent the lion hurtling back also, and he fell again down to a lower platform. Angron descended like a meteor. The lion...
Okay, how strong is Angron? He's kicking the shit out of Lion. Or is Lion rusty right now? He just woke up, I don't know. Because, what is the other counts of where Angron fought? Like great battles, right? I mean, I'm guessing he kicked everybody's ass so far. I don't know.
Lion was hurt, but he couldn't help but smile, as he was now in the perfect place to enact his strategy. You see, during the heresy, the lion had led the hunt for his brother, Conrad Kurz the Night Haunter. The lion had learned from one of the best the deadliness of striking from the shadows. He disappeared into the smog, and Angron's frustrations grew, and he was appalled at this trickery. He had used his advantage of flight against the lion. Now it was his brother's turn to demonstrate his gifts. The smog eclipsed Angron's demonic senses, and he was forced to swipe wildly at where he thought the lion would be. As his weapons passed through nothing but smog, the lion pounced. He drove the Emperor's shield into his brother's side. Angron was thrust into the air, but as he turned, the lion vanished once again. The Lord of Caliban felt as if he was back on his homeworld of old, hunting monsters in the misty forests. Again and again he struck, and Angron's blows found only empty space or occasionally the Emperor's shield. As Angron's fury reached new levels, the lion waited for his chance. But finally, Angron caught sight of his brother. A piston discharging steam had blasted aside the veil of smog. Angron beat his wings and hurled himself at the lion. He swung his weapons to decapitate his brother. Yet, this time the lion made no effort to defend. With blistering speed, he instead dropped to one knee, braced his blade with his whole body, and let Angron slam straight into its raised point. The demon Primarch's own impetus drove the glowing blade up through his torso until it erupted from the nape of his neck in a mountain of gore. The force took the lion over with it, and when they landed, the blade fealty had pierced Angron's wing and pinned him. Angron desperately thrashed and howled, but above him was the Monster Slayer, the true lord of this wretched place. The battle had taken its toll on the aged Primarch, now he would finish it. He gripped the Emperor's shield with both hands and raised it above Angron's head. So many of his sons had died today fighting the Red Angel. The lion knew his purpose now. He had failed his father. He may have also failed his brothers. He will not fail his sons. The shield came down. Angron was banished. The lion headed to the extraction site, tuning into the Dark Angel's command channel for the first time in 10,000 years. When he had looked at the lion, Azrael had made a silent oath that he would get Commander Dante to safety. He had done his duty, the first of many oaths he and the rest of the sons of the lion would make for their lord, for there is much work to do. So there we have it, Lion L. Johnson has returned. If you enjoyed this video, please do consider...
Yeah, that's some badass shit right there. Basically, this sums up like Lionel Johnson feels like a basic knight, right? Strong as strong can be, but at the same time also extremely skillful, right? Knowing all the perfect moves with the balance with sword and shield. And Angron just like the beast as a beast can be. Really powerful, angry, red eyes. So in the end, knight is always going to win. Why? Because he's completely balanced, right? I mean, angry beast will have weakness sometimes here and there, while knight will have none because he knows everything, he knows the weak points and everything. So yeah, this battle is awesome for that way. At the start, Angron just kicked his ass, Lions left and right, but in the end, Lion just, with just a one knee down grace and sword up, that's it. He used, Angron's anger against him, I guess. Alright, well, that was the Emperor explains why he needs Guilliman and the Lion. Angron versus the Lion, Warhammer 40K lore by the channel Sandman of Terra. If you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.